You're listening to the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring attorney, guest, and former felony prosecutor Eric Faddis.
How do you think they're going to tie him to it? Are we going to be looking at like cell phone triangulation data that's going to show Chad was there at the time we believe this happened? I mean, so was Alex Cox, though, as well. But, you know, you can't assume Chad's like in the bedroom with his eyes blindfolded and earbuds in, not having anything to do with this. How are they going to place him there and place him, you know, obviously to his house, so that is the crime scene, but doing the actual act?
Yeah, that's the real question right now. Like you said, there could be some locational digital forensic evidence that comes to light. There could be some sort of CSI, scene investigation evidence that they can somehow, you know, tie him into it. But I think that's sort of still up in the air in terms of, you know, putting him at the murder scene or being directly involved in these murders. Now, are they going to allege that he instead had this done, that he, you know, was behind it? That could be an alternative route.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that could be the route that could possibly go. I mean, kind of like with Lori, that was conspiracy to be involved with it. Is it enough, though, to see that the text messages where they're talking about, you know, getting rid of the kids or they're zombies or this or that? It doesn't necessarily say I killed the kids or anything like that. It just it always walks right up to the line of saying that. And again, to a jury, you got to have, you know, be sure that he is the one who either had part in this, you know, or at least knowledge of it. Is that going to be difficult here?
You know, that's why it was a bit curious to me that the prosecutors were seeking the death penalty. Because if you're seeking the ultimate penalty, these jurors have to be darn sure that this guy did this and is this monster who should be executed. And so arguably there's almost like a higher expectation from the jury in terms of the proof the prosecution has to come with it. And you know, do they even have that evidence in terms of exactly how these murders went down, by whose hands, under what circumstances, with what weapons? I'm not sure they have all those details. Yeah.
Tammy Daybell, I'm wondering if that's going to be a little easier one to pin on him. We've been hearing more about that this week. Obviously, her cause of death changed after she was exhumed. It went from natural causes, heart attack, I believe, all the way then to asphyxiation, which is quite a different death. And that's another one where it's going to be not necessarily difficult to prove, I think, that one, because it did happen in his house. They can place him there. But they're also pointing that Alex Cox was in the nearby vicinity of his house the day that she died. So I'm wondering, did Alex make a house call?
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly something the defense is going to explore. And as grim as it sounds from a legal perspective, it really benefits the defense that Alex Cox is no longer around, because they can kind of accuse him of whatever they want, and he's not there to correct the record. And so I really will be interested to see how much John Pryor begins talking about Alex Cox as we get closer to evidence that the prosecution believes ties Chad Daybell to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very bizarre one where the argument had been made from the defense for quite a while that, Tammy was on all these herbal supplements and her time was near. And then you look at her like Fitbit data or Apple Track or whatever it was. She's doing like tons of steps in a day. It's a friend saying that she's the healthiest she's ever been.
She's great.
I mean, that I found to be interesting, that they're still kind of going down that road when they saw in Discovery, like what they would, the data on her health of what they're going to present. So why still go down the road that Tammy was unhealthy and about to die when that's very easily disproven with facts?
Totally. I mean, you know, from the defense perspective, they're usually like multiple horses you could ride, but you don't want to ride all of them because the jury's going to say, oh, this was a natural cause, but if it wasn't, it was Alex Cox. And it just begins to appear very uncredible to a jury when you're trying to sell them something that it just appears demonstrably untrue.
Who do you think has been, thus far into the case, some of the best witnesses that's been testifying against Chad Daybell?
Well, I think that one of the star witnesses for the government so far has been Chad Daybell through his own text messages. and so I think just some of the stuff that he's talking about and how manipulative it appears. It almost looks like, at least in my personal opinion, that I'm not sure he believes all of this and he's using it to sort of further his romantic exploits with the woman with whom he's having an affair.
Yeah, it doesn't make him a murderer, though. It makes him a cheater, but that is motivation, without a doubt. And you don't necessarily have to show motive here, but it certainly does start to paint that picture. It's probably too early to tell yet, but it does not look like things are going very good for Chad Daybell thus far. Is he going to end up on the stand, you think?
Oh, that is a tough one because of the volume of texts they have against him that just look bad to a jury. Because if he gets up there, the prosecution can impeach him and examine him about all of these prior statements and make him look either crazy or manipulative or vindictive or however they want to make him look. And he's going to be somewhat defenseless up there. So it certainly could be perilous, but sometimes in a death penalty case, that's the only option you have.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free,
so you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.